When I mention the video game Life by You, I know, we're all starving for more information, for the latest releases, etc. I came across an article written by Andrew Webster from The Verge, and I wanted to read an excerpt from his interview with Rod Humble. Traditionally, in game development, non-player characters are usually props. In our game, the barkeep has a house, has work hours. You can talk to the barkeep. You can develop a relationship with the barkeep, and you can see where the barkeep lives. Wait, what was that last part? Hi everyone, my name is Michael and welcome back to Sovereign Gaming, where today we are reviewing and looking at all that we can about Life by You. Since its announcement, one thing that has been at the top of my mind is the bigger picture of how the world is actually going to run. And if you didn't already guess from the title of this video, the specific concern I want to talk about is housing in Life by You. Let me explain my concern by sticking with Rod Humble's example from the interview. Let's say that you are playing a family and you come across the barkeep. Before I go on, let's make a couple of assumptions to keep things simple for us. 1. The barkeep works in a small neighborhood pub. 2. The barkeep works with one other barkeep and a manager, totaling to 3 humans required to run this small neighborhood pub, and this doesn't include any cleaning staff. 3. Let's assume that the manager is also the owner of the small neighborhood pub. With those assumptions in place, the game would have to create 3 different homes in the game's neighborhood or world for all of these townies to run the business that your family is visiting. In another interview with Sports Illustrated, Rod Humble also reveals we have hotel jobs, retail jobs, hairdressing, salon, finance, regular white-collar jobs, all of that with progression out of the box. Humble explains, but we also ship with an entire career and job editor and creation tools so that you can make brand new jobs from scratch. So if you wanted to make a store that just sells balloons, you can do that. If we take inventory of the different career paths that he described, being hotel jobs, retail jobs, hairdressing, salon, finance, and white-collar jobs, then that is a lot of humans that need to be generated. And each of these humans and their colleagues are going to need a home. That's a lot of homes. And this triggers a really big concern of mine. What is the real scale of this game that's being marketed to us, and is it even possible to play the vision? Like, it just reads to me as being a tad bit unrealistic in this sense, because literally every character in the game will need an entire home to go back to. Don't get me wrong, I love this vision, but I'm very skeptical that it can be executed in a way that is being marketed to us. And I might be a little too late to share in this skepticism since I did purchase the early release, but I digress. I also think that if Life by You is looking to release a game that is realistic, that giving everyone a house is also unrealistic because it is unlikely that a barkeep would own a single family home. It would be more likely for that barkeep to rent a home or own a condo apartment. Which beckons the next question. Are the Life by You humans capable of renting homes? And if so, then could they then buy real estate and rent it out to another Life by You human? Being a landlord is also a viable career. Oh, and that landlord will also need a place to live. Comment below if you can see how housing can get a little carried away and increase the magnitude of the game. And again, I'm not mad at it. I'm just wondering if Paradox can actually pull it off. The next concern that I have actually surrounds the necessity for apartments or multi-housing living lots being available in the base game just to address the need to house NPCs. I understand that there are small towns out there that exist which don't have any apartments, but from what we know, there's a lot of content being released in Life by You. And with the need to house these quote-unquote NPCs, there will come an element of city planning that I wouldn't expect from a life simulator game like this, but a city planning element that I personally would really love. To me, this dynamic also suggests that if the players wanted, they could also get into the economics and macro managing of their worlds. Again, those would be features that I would personally love, but that is just an assumption on my part. Let me paint the picture. If you only have single-family residential lots to play with, depending on the size of the game worlds, you could run out of land or your placement of all of these single-family homes could look awkward to look at. In other words, single-family residential lots would force players into only being able to develop suburbs just to house the quote-unquote NPCs and townies as you add new jobs to your world. As much as I can respect prior franchises like The Sims 2 releasing apartment living features as a standalone expansion pack, this is a case where I feel that it is almost necessary for Life by You to release with apartment living or at least multi-household living in the base game, just so that players can meet housing demands of the townies. And it doesn't have to be skyscraper high-rises either. There's the whole missing middle housing that can be introduced to tackle those housing demands. Examples of missing middle housing includes duplexes, triplexes, fourplexes, attached courtyard housing, townhouses, multiplex complexes, live workspaces, and more. Even if we don't get the capabilities to construct mid-rise or high-rise apartments in the base game, and I don't think that we will get high-rises in the base game, if we had the ability to have multi-household residential lots, we can create smaller footprint lots to meet the townie housing needs without having to sprawl across the in-game world with single-family homes. This now leads me to the next quote from the Sports Illustrated article. One of the game's developers built a 12-story tower that poked through the clouds just to see if they could. Reader, they could. So this quote just confuses me again with the scale of the game. First of all, I have never heard of a 12-story tower poking through the clouds in real life, so either the walls were super tall or the sky's falling in Life by You. Secondly, we have never had the capabilities to construct a 12-story building in the Sims franchise, so I am actually super excited about that. All them Sims housing creators are gonna love that feature if it makes it into the final game. If I were to make an assumption here, I would actually assume that multi-household residential lots would be made available to us in the base game. I would trust Paradox to anticipate the player's need to house NPCs or townies as they play the game, and I would also say that the fact that we can construct 12-story buildings is yet another clue. I honestly love how housing could be a real in-game challenge for players because it does reflect the real world. I'm sure that players will think twice about plopping down a cafe since they now have to find a way to house the workers working the cafe. But with multi-household living features, it can be much easier for players who don't like city planning to continue evolving their worlds while giving the required townies a place to live. But I want to hear what you think about macro-managing your humans in Life by You. Do you think that housing NPCs and townies will be a real challenge in the game? And if so, would multi-household residential lots be a solution that you would use? Feel free to comment below with your thoughts on that. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to subscribe and like for more videos like this one. I just want to thank you again for watching, and I'm super excited to hear what you have to think about managing the housing crisis in your upcoming Life by You game.